Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Film Club Podcast, where every month we deep dive into a different aspect of cinema, director, actor, genre, or franchise. It doesn't matter, because it's always fun at the Film Club. I'm Dean.
I'm Becky.
And we have a guest this week.
We do.
Alex.
Some call him Alex. Some call him
Big Jim.
Jimothy.
Yeah.
Interesting. But this month, we're going to be going back
To Hamunaptra.
That's right. We're talking about the Mummy franchise. The one started with Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, directed by Stephen Sommers, that ends with a whimper with Tom Cruise and Russell Crowe and in a dark universe in the far future. But we're talking about the first Mummy movie this week. The cinematic classic, 1999. It might be the perfect movie.
It is. It's Kino.
Is it Kino?
I can verify it's Kino.
Alex, the master of Kino. But I mean, what's your guys' experience with The Mummy?
It's definitely one of the first movies I remember seeing in theaters.
How old were you?
My dad took me to see it. I remember seeing both of them in theaters. Mostly the second one, because, a little more recent, but...
Little bit more developed out of the toddler age.
Yeah, but I remember, like bits and pieces of it seeing in theaters, but it's like one of the first horror movies I think I've seen, but also like action movies. My dad took me to see everything, but it holds a place in my heart because it's one of the first movies I remember seeing in theaters.
I see. Yeah, I can line up with that because I don't think I saw this. If I saw this in theaters, it was after Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace is the first movie I know I saw in theaters, but I think I might have seen this the same year because these were both 99.
Yeah.
So I might have seen it in theaters as well, but I know for a fact this was like one of the VHS like staples of the house.
Yeah.
You would rent this from Blockbuster and then you would just like watch it like every weekend because like it was the only movie like me being like a kid and my parents couldn't both enjoy watching.
Mm-hmm.
But what about you, Miss Becky over there?
This was one that I watched from Blockbuster. My mom was like, "No, it's gonna be too scary. You can't watch it." So my dad's like, "Let's rent it and just don't tell your mom." And watched
Great
it.
parenting right there.
Yeah, I fell in love with the movie. This is like my comfort movie. I go back to it whenever I can. I love this movie so much. I wish I got to see it in the theater, but definitely saw Mummy Returns, and that's more of like a cognitive memory where it's just like, wow, I remember every beat by beat. But this one, seeing it for the first time, I'm like, this isn't scary and this is amazing, and oh my god, I'm crushing on everybody. This is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that's a lot of people's initial memory of this movie is, man, so that's where my first crush was, because this is a good looking cast.
Oh yeah.
From top to bottom.
It's a little too good looking.
It's a
doesn't make sense how good looking they are.
It's a little distracting how everyone in here is like a GQ model.
No one's teeth were that good looking in the 30s.
And in ancient times.
Oh yeah.
How is everyone's hair perfectly coiffed in the middle of the desert?
And how's everyone jacked?
It's like the thing where it's like Rachel Weisz's hair, even though she's like, oh, I've been tossed around and her hair's getting messier and messier. I'm like, you are looking better and better.
She's better and better.
The more like, disheveled, quote unquote, Rachel Weisz is getting, like, it's like she's aging like a fine wine here. But the whole thing is like, The Mummy was one of those productions that sat in production hell for like a decade, because I think originally they wanted George Romero to make this in like 91,
which would have been freaking awesome.
Yeah, because he wanted to make it like a straight like zombie movie. Yeah. I'm wondering when the switch came in to make it into what it is now, which is way more of an action movie than a horror movie.
I have no clue.
Zero gore.
This is a zero gore action adventure horror movie.
We only see blood once, and that's at the very end.
Yeah. And God, it is weird that this is based on a horror movie. And have you seen the original Mummy?
Oh yeah.
Right? It's a lot more atmosphere. It's a lot more spooky.
It's good, but this one's better.
Way better.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love Boris Karloff, but we only get the Mummy for like a couple of minutes in the original film.
Mm-hmm.
And the first movie is like, barely over an hour long? It's like an hour 10.
Yeah, like hour 8 or 10 or something like that.
But Stephen Sommers, the director of The Jungle Book and Huck Finn, he's like, I can make you a great movie.
Oh, yeah.
and he makes this movie, and I'm just fascinated because he made like kids action movies,
Mhm.
and then he's like, I'm just gonna make the standard by which all other children's action movies shall be rated by for the next like 20 years, by kind of sorting crimming a lot from Raiders of the Lost Ark, but we won't get into that.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He probably just went into that meeting, was like, all right, who likes Indiana Jones?
Yo,
Okay, that, but the Mummy.
With mummies and hot people.
Oh yeah.
that's like the thing where James Cameron comes in and writes Alien on the whiteboard, and he's like, I have $1 million idea. They're like, what do you got? Writes an S, puts dollar slashes through it. They're like, of course. What makes more money than Alien? Aliens. One of the
Okay.
greatest pitch band in all of Hollywood.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
But people who haven't seen The Mummy are probably wondering what it's about.
It's in the title.
It is in the title. But we also have something here. The actual back of the box.
It's sacred. Be careful with it.
You can hear it rattling around in there.
I bet if you take the tape out, it smells like the 90s.
Oh, God.
It's still fresh.
Why does this smell
It's-
like weed and sadness?
Juicy.
So.
Juicy. That's going to get clipped as some weird sexual thing. But, okay, I literally have the back of the VHS box, right? You could have gotten this at your local Blockbuster for $40 back in 1999.
Yeah.
But if you're wondering what it's about, it says, deep in the Egyptian desert, a handful of people searching for a long-lost treasure have just unearthed a 3,000-year-old legacy of terror, combining the thrills of a rousing adventure with the suspense of Universal's legendary 1932 horror classic, The Mummy, starring Brendan Fraser, is a true non-stop action epic filled with dazzling visual effects, top-notch talent, and superb storytelling. Which, I would agree. There's some action, there's some storytelling, there's some
Hotness.
hotness, superb special effects
For the time.
For the 90s.
for the time. Yeah, I think that's the quantifier right there, which is some of these special effects really hold up well, and some of them really don't. Kind of in the opening of this movie. So
I mean, I love the opening of this movie.
I think the opening's super cool, but I'm talking about the city of Hamunaptra, and they're panning over the giant statues and the pyramids, and I'm like, man, that's a little glossy for stone masonry.
But was 90s Dean, really falling for that? Ooh, yeah,
Was-
if I was doing this effect, I would have done this so much
No,
more
90s
differently.
Dean was like, yo, a Anck-su-namun. I would probably do some ancient ritual to get you back.
You don't know what ancient Egypt looked like.
Exactly.
The pyramids were shiny,
Everything was
and we
brand
didn't
new.
even know that then.
We didn't even know this then.
No, they didn't know about the pyramids being shiny until like, I don't know, a couple years ago. I don't know. All my Egyptian knowledge comes from this movie
Well, my Egyptian knowledge
and
also...
Ancient Aliens.
Okay, Ancient Aliens, like, that is just historical text at this point.
Oh yeah, it's on the History Channel. Come on.
Yeah, come on. If it's on the History Channel, it must be real.
It's got to be real.
I'm just saying, guys. I watched X-Files, and it was on the History Channel once. Aliens are real.
Mm-hmm.
But,
It's out there.
let's talk about the opening of this movie, because it is a great opening, and it is, like, really setting up Imhotep's origin story. We get to see, like, the mummy being made, and it's like, oh, this is like the first like spooky scary stuff of the movie, and then it just goes into action for the rest of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because we get the opening, then we're going in to see, Rick and Benny, Hamunaptra, Benny being the slimiest, greatest character of this movie.
Yeah.
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 So how are you guys liking how this movie kind of opens? Because it is like, we don't see Evie or Jonathan for like 15 minutes going in.
I mean, the opening of this movie is one of my childhood memories that I treasure. Just watching that, just seeing why this is happening. We get Imhotep, we see how he has the secret affair with an Anck-su-namun, and how she basically, stabs her soon-to-be husband in the back. And it's just like, wow, we are like 2 minutes into the movie. What is going to happen?
I just like how he's like, who touched you? She could have been like, it's 106. I just sweated through this fucking body paint. What do you want from me?
There was a mosquito. I went to slap
Yeah.
it.
That's some great visual storytelling too. Just like oh, her body paint was all messed up, and that's what the catalyst was for this whole goddamn movie.
Hoes ain't loyal.
She should have just got it tattooed.
Yeah. What else are you gonna do back then?
Come on now. Also, I find it really interesting that this movie has this weird dedication to accuracy, because all the like Anck-su-namun, Imhotep, all those they're speaking like Egyptian, right?
They're speaking ancient Egyptian. I know they had to bring somebody on to like actually like be able to translate and show them this is what it would have sounded like. But the fact that Imhotep and Anck-su-namun were real people in Egyptian history, it was kind of like, okay, cool. So you actually have some real people that weren't really their characters. I mean, Imhotep wasn't a high priest, and Anck-su-namun was actually a princess, but...
I mean, Imhotep did come back from the dead. He ran for governor of Kansas about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Didn't go well, but, you know, he's trying again next year.
It'd be like that sometimes.
But, it's interesting, because the opening of the movie... Because all this is narrated by Oded Fehr, who plays...
Ardeth Bay.
Ardeth Bay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, they knew what they were doing.
Look at that hair. Hear that voice. You know.
That beard, though.
Have you seen him in other movies without, like, the beard and the long hair?
He's still very attractive.
Well, yeah, but he looks like a whole different actor. I thought I saw him in Resident Evil, like, I don't, like, one of them.
He is in Resident Evil.
Yes, he's the guy. He's like, God, I can't remember his name, but he plays a character in Resident Evil, and I'm like, I know that voice, but you don't look right. And then I looked him up, and I'm like, well, you're Ardeth Bay? What the fuck?
He needs to have long hair all the time.
Yes.
And the tattoos.
Yeah. Everything. Just the whole outfit.
Yes.
He's in like some romantic comedy, and he walks in, he's like, oh, sorry, I dropped my books there. And it looks, and he has the fucking Aztec, or not Aztec, or the Arabic written on his cheeks.
Whoa.
Aztec.
What? It's like the same. It's like their same A letters.
No.
Same A letters?
They're the same A words. It's fine. But yeah.
And it was hieroglyphs?
Hieroglyphs. Yeah, he has those things written on his cheeks. It'd be hilarious.
He's got the emojis on his cheeks.
He has a little poop emoji, like, right off in the corner here.
No, that's what we're going to put on you for, for that bumble right there.
Oh, you're going to wait for me to fall asleep and start drawing on my face?
Yeah. We're going to bring Alex in to give you some prison tattoos.
Oh, that would be so cool. I'll look so tough at the film club.
Yeah, he's going to give you a poop emoji where your teardrop should be.
You're going to look tough, but those tattoos don't mean you're tough.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. But what is tough is Rick and Benny. So we're going from the Imhotep like setup, really good visual storytelling.
Mhm.
It's really sets the mood, right? And it goes straight into Rick and Benny, and they're defending against this giant like army, and they're in the French Foreign Legion, and that's like our first opening, like big action set piece. And this is like Rick showing off that he's like, hey guys, you like Indiana Jones? Well, I'm Rick O'Connell. How's it going?
With the perfect hair.
Yes.
The perfect jacket. I mean, that jacket. Oh my god.
You want to steal that jacket?
No, he just looked really good in that jacket.
He was the epitome of testosterone in those days.
And
especially this movie.
And it almost went to Leo.
Almost.
It almost went to like Leo, Tom Cruise. Like this, it is weird how many people almost got the role of Rick O'Connell.
But
I think I was up for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice 4-year-old,
Well, it would have been 2 when they were filming it.
2-year-old Alex.
Really young in the game.
I heard that one of the reasons that Brendan Fraser got the role was because he did George of the Jungle, and he had to work with like a CGI elephant in that.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, okay, he already knows how to work with like CGI and special effects. This is gonna be a big special effects movie, so we'll just cast him. And this is him coming off of like George of the Jungle, so he's already like shredded and everything.
But he does not take his shirt off at all in this movie or the next movie.
He doesn't need to.
Which is, I know he doesn't need to, but you'd be like, that's a little odd. Like,
we hired you for your abs, but we're not going to show them.
Hey, I mean, that shows progress, and that shows good aging in me, because I saw George of the Jungle in the theater and I was like, wow.
Steven Sommers was like, I'm not going to show skin.
I'm not going to give the people what they want.
Yeah, I'm going to give people what they need.
Yes, but
I needed this movie.
Lord, Well, no, what the people wanted in this movie, what they needed in this movie, was Rachel Weisz, because we get Evie, Jonathan, their intro at the library, and
this is 3 years after the war scene with Rick and Benny.
And the scariest part of the movie.
Yep.
the
That's
one jump scare.
Yeah, that's the only part that's scary.
I mean, there's a few parts where there's like atmosphere, but this is the only like jump scare spook. Oh God, because what is it? Evie does the gag, right, where she knocks over the shelves and it tumbles everything, and
it's okay because she's hot.
She's hot. It's foreshadowing of what's going to happen at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm. It's also it's also a really impressive like gag they do, because it's all done in one shot. It literally follows the camera, circles around. They have a Texas switch with the stunt woman falling out of frame and then Rachel Weisz standing up. Like it's a really well done thing that's done practically.
Oh yeah.
And we then get her introduction, and we get Jonathan, who's
he's a silly boy.
He's a silly boy. He's like, I'm Jonathan. You're the rascal of the group.
The silly older brother. I won't let anything happen to you, Evie.
Well, not much.
Yeah, sure.
Because he found like the key, right? The key to like in the map to the lost city of Hamunaptra.
What does the key look like?
It looks like, well, we're gonna post it on our Instagram, but it looks like this very nice Egyptian box thing, hexagonal thing that pops out with stuff.
Okay.
Would you like to?
Oh, yeah, let me see this.
Yeah. For people who aren't following us on Instagram, Becky, you got the little mummy key.
Yes, I have the mummy key. Unfortunately, mine does not open. But on Etsy, they do sell the map that comes in the key, so I need to buy that next.
Fancy.
But he makes this discovery of the key, and then, like a scene later, we discover he really doesn't find the key. Someone else finds the key, and he kind of just like
stole it.
Swipes it from them.
He doesn't even know it's a key; he just thinks it's something
treasure.
Shiny. Yeah.
That I love Jonathan in this. He is the right amount of like comic relief and obnoxious that I'm like he is writing that perfect line of comic relief in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think the actor is John Hannah.
Yes, John Hannah.
Once we get them all meeting, when the map god is like too messed up, so Jonathan's like, well, we'll just go to the guy I stole it from, and we finally get Rick, Evie, Jonathan. They all finally meet at the prison, right?
Well, the map, they find it's pristine, and it's the curator of the Egyptian Museum of Antiquities that Evie works for. He destroys part of the map, and that's when we're kind of like, well, why would you do this? It's an ancient relic.
That was a silly thing too.
Yeah.
He's playing it off as like,
I can't see it, and then hold it near the fucking flame.
One of the oldest tricks in the book.
Oh yeah, almost worked. Almost.
I just like how if you like watch him do it, it's almost like it almost looks like he's trying to grab a lighter, being like, yeah, can this almost? Okay, now it's on fire. There we go.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't just go. Shit, it ripped.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, it ripped, and I don't know why I'm eating this map.
Puts it in the paper shredder. I didn't think it would do that.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I mean, he also has one of the best monologues in the movie after Evie destroys the library.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "Give me frogs, give me flies, give me locusts.
Anything but you.
Anything but you." He goes,
"But it was an accident."
And his delivery of it is great.
Yeah, because I mean, he is just so over it, and he's like, I'd rather have all the plagues, but you are a catastrophe. And she's just like, "Damn, you just really cut me down."
She should have been like, well, you're going to get the plagues.
You're going to get the plagues, and those Bembridge scholars are going to get this. And then this.
Then they go to meet Rick, which he's looking like George of the Jungle at that point.
He got that George of the Jungle hair going on. And what is it? We get them, and they're trying to, figure out, it's like, hey, could you lead us to Hamunaptra?
Because Rick's in prison at this point.
Yeah, because for having a good time.
Yes.
And he's going to get hanged for having a really good time.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Exactly.
His neck did not break.
His neck did not break. Oh, my Lord. I love the jailer because, okay, if Jonathan is like, he's writing that fine line of obnoxious and funny, the jailer is like, hey, I'm gonna ride this fine line of absolute camp and obnoxiousness.
He's probably my favorite in the movie.
He is so
He definitely
funny.
has my favorite part. But we'll get there when we get
And
there.
he's got a great line, I'm a very lonely man.
Yeah.
And she slaps him with the book.
And then the whole prison just laughs at him.
It's so good because this is where Rick lays one on Evie through the bars.
Mhm.
And this is the first day of
And
shooting.
Jonathan.
Oh well, yeah. He pops Jonathan with the right, and he puts the two Fraser lips on Evie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that actually the first day of shooting?
Yeah, the prison scene is the first day of shooting.
Oh, really?
And it was shot in a apartment, like a apartment complex in Marrakesh.
Wow.
So I was just kind of like, really? That's your apartment? Okay, cool.
That's pretty awesome.
And then Brendan Fraser almost died that same day.
Yeah, I knew that. He almost died.
So I'm just like, what a way to start off your first day of shooting.
He was really, really purple.
Yeah.
Oh God. Because they do the because it's the hanging drop, right?
Yeah, it actually looked really freaking painful.
I'm wondering, okay, because when they, they'll pull the cable and he drops, was that the one that fucked up, or is it when he's like actually hanging there and it's in the close-ups? Because if it's that drop and his neck didn't just snap, then
maybe that line wasn't in the script. His neck did not break.
Could you imagine if Stephen Sommers is like, shit, take two? Can we get another one?
Just keep going. Just keep rolling.
Keep rolling.
His neck didn't break. Keep rolling. Keep rolling.
Fraser's there's like,
Like, cut me
He's
down.
George of the Jungle. He knows what he's doing.
because what is it like? I know Rachel Weisz has said this before, where it's like, yeah, like that messed up. He like had to be resuscitated. She said like his heart stopped. Like he like actually was like gone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, first day of shooting,
he stayed on board.
If you were Brendan Fraser and you're just like, first day of shooting, I got to kiss Rachel Weisz, but I also like literally died.
This is why he has an Oscar.
Yes.
Dedication to the craft. Okay. So would you trade getting hung and then resuscitated for a kiss from Rachel Weisz? Is that a good trade?
I think they have to go hand in hand.
Right.
I mean, I would do it.
The highs and lows of life. So
it's all a high there.
Yes, but like Brendan Fraser almost dies, and they managed to make the agreement with the jailer. Cut him down.
Warden Gad Hassan.
Warden Gad, and for what is it, 15% or 25% of 25% of Hamunaptra, and he gets to let Rick go, but he also has to come with to protect his investment.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is when we finally get to like the boats, and we get to see the Americans, and we get the next giant action sequence of the movie, right?
I think you're forgetting the most important part. This is where we see Rick all cleaned up, and Evie's like, "God damn, I've been thinking about the kiss, but now you're all looking fine."
The Nile isn't the only thing wet right now.
Oh. I can't come up with a good follow-up gag to that. That's solid.
Stunned by that line.
I mean, yeah. Alex, right here. I'm gonna shake your hand. That was a good one. That was a solid joke. The Nile isn't the only thing wet here. Jesus. But I mean, like, there's a couple like reveal moments of when, oh, this actor is just gonna look the absolute best they possibly can. We're gonna get to Evie's later, but this is definitely the, oh yeah, Rick cleans up well.
Oh yeah.
And so like they get on the boat, and this is when we get introduced to like
the Americans.
The Americans, who aren't like villains, but they're part of the ensemble and they're a little antagonistic.
They're treasure hunters.
Which I like how if you look at the Americans, they're all like different levels of Indiana Jones.
Yeah, you got the nerdy one.
Yeah, like you have Dr. Jones there. Then you have like the cowboy, and that's like, ooh, that's like gun shooting Indy. And then you have the one who always has like one arm not in his jacket, and he's like, like other like Indy. He's like the degrade of Indy, and it's just. I love the Americans so much because all of them have their own little characters and quips. I love the ensemble. You also have the doctor.
Dr. Alan Chamberlain, who just looks like he's part of that world with the fez.
Yes.
Which Dean provided today.
Yes.
I brought a fez today. It doesn't fit over the headphones, but I brought it.
And then he's got, the bitching portraits in his office that we see later on.
I
was like, fuck yeah, this is a doctor of this time.
I like how the Egyptology doctor is like, should I have pictures of my wife and children? No, I'm looking pretty solid right here. I want to look at how good I look on this desk.
He's like, history's my wife.
Exactly.
What? And this is where we get reintroduced to Benny, right?
Yes.
Because
he runs away in his first scene. Now he's back.
yeah, and because Rick's gonna lead our heroes, and Benny's gonna lead the Americans, and I like how Rick's telling Benny, "You're just gonna leave him into the desert to what, rot?" And he's like, "No, these Americans are smart. They only paid me half now, half when I get back." And I love Benny. Benny is the perfect weasel.
Yeah. Just pisses you off.
Oh yeah, but you love it.
Yeah.
You love it.
Who is that actor? Because I've seen him in a bunch of stuff.
He's in There Will Be Blood, the greatest movie of all time.
He's also in Gods and Monsters.
He is.
Also,
Yeah, he is with
Brendan
Brendan
Fraser. Also reappears in another Stephen Sommers movie, Van Helsing. He is Igor.
That's right.
Yes,
he
he
is.
is.
Yes, have you seen Van Helsing recently?
It's been a long time.
I remember loving that movie.
I remember loving it too.
And I'm afraid to go back because everyone who I've ever mentioned that to has been like, "Oh, that movie looks disgustingly bad."
When I just think about it in my mind, I'm like, I was young.
Whenever I think about it, I think about the maze that they used to have for it at Universal Studios.
I've never seen it.
They had that made for a while.
Yeah, this was way back when they used to do like the mazes for like these movies. So they did one for The Mummy Returns. It was just like a year-round maze, and that maze was like terrifying. Both of them were. But that was played by Kevin J.
O'Connell. Coincidence?
There's a thread here.
There is.
Goddamn Irish people.
I blame the Irish. But
aren't you the Irish?
Quiet you. But yeah, so we get Benny there, and we get this scene with Rick and Evie, and Evie's like
In Evie's quarters.
Evie's like,
On a boat.
"Rick, why did you kiss me?" As he's like playing with his guns.
And typical guy response.
I was gonna die, so I thought it was a good idea at the
It seemed
time.
a good idea at the time.
Which,
I mean,
good
come
idea.
on.
Good idea at the time.
It was a great idea. He's being modest.
He was like, that would have been top 5 ideas I could have had in that moment.
Just sitting there, who's going, what? What?
What did I say?
I didn't mean it.
And right after this, Evie's in her room. She's overthinking this, this kiss. And I love the shot where she like circles the room and then
tries to hang her
stuff. And then she's like finally fed up. It's like, oh, yeah, it wasn't that good of a kiss anyway. And as she walks back, we now see that the window's open and she slams it when it was closed before.
Yeah.
And then that's when evil, scary guy pops out. And that, if you notice, that whole scene is in one shot.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like, that's really like well thought out, like, filmmaking, because it's like, oh, tension. It's like, oh, if you're paying attention, you catch on to it. But then we get the big raid, right? Everything's on fire. People are getting shot.
People are on fire.
People are on fire. People got poked in the eye.
Evie does a lot of eye poking in this movie.
Yeah, she does.
That's her one move, but it's effective.
I always like the cowboy, the way he's like
He has to feather the fucking hammer,
I
the
loved that.
pistol. Oh god, and I love how like everyone's Rick's group are like, oh, we got to get off the boat, and the Americans are like barricaded up at the front. It's like, oh,
They're
this is
just
great.
fighting.
They're just shooting. And Jonathan's like, Americans. Why Jonathan got to hate on the Americans? Racist?
That was just a time. That was the time and place.
Yeah.
This movie, racist to the Americans.
The hero's American.
He is.
He's Canadian. Well, Brendan Fraser's Canadian.
Yeah, but he's American. He's American in the movie.
He is.
None taken.
I love those. I love that. So they get off the boat.
Then we get a wet Rachel Weisz.
Yes.
I found this out. Apparently,
Which they should have gone for the R rating.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting at. Apparently, like her nightie when she gets out, they spent like thousands and thousands of dollars doing like frame by frame brushing because it was completely see through during the actual scene.
Mm-hmm. We need the original cut.
Just the original.
It's the same exact length as the original movie. It's just
You're just like, I want it without any visual CGI effects. The movie looks absolutely shit, but you do get to see it through everyone's clothes.
just how like when they did the Sin City special edition cut where it's all the CGI's taken out as you watch the movie with them performing in front of green screens. I want that for this movie.
Have you actually like watched that in its entirety?
I have not.
It is so weird. Like it is like almost like I'm gonna use a $5 word here, like Baroque theater. It's like
Oh,
very
God.
weird. But the best part is seeing people who like are good at green screening. They'll like insert themselves into that cut of the movie where you're just like, because it's all green screen and shit, so they'll put their own shit in the background. It's funny. Yeah, there's a lot of funny cuts of that movie.
I like that you know Baroque, but you still think that Ardeth had Aztec writing on his face.
They're like the same words. I forget things.
He's Mexican.
Ah.
Yeah,
Oh.
the real racist Dean
He's-
over here.
You know. But they get out, but they've, escaped the boat, and we get
People on the wrong side of the river.
Probably one of the best lines in the movie.
right. Is that the best line? Is that like the best back and forth of the movie?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Me and my brother would quote that. I don't even know why we would quote it to each other. We would just quote it to each other all the time. Whenever that part of the movie came up, we'd always rewind it and rewatch that part.
Because I got all the horses.
Looks like you're on the wrong side of the river.
Ah, shit. Kicks the fucking water. I love Benny. Benny, best character of the movie. And, then we get, after the, other side of the river, this is where, they have to, like, regroup.
Mm-hmm.
And we get the Rachel Weisz reveal of,
Yes.
the face that launched a thousand hearts.
Launched 1,000 little boys.
Launched 1,000 little boys. But yeah, we get...
That was when I realized
That you were a man.
yeah.
Yeah,
I knew what I liked then.
That is like everyone's thing about this movie is like, man, everyone in this movie looks way too good to be like Egyptologists, and then they see, Rachel Weisz in the veil, appropriating another person's culture, and it's like, oh, I guess I am straight. I guess I found that out today, because we get like the Rick O'Connell reveal, right? This is Evie's reveal of she's pretty without her glasses on.
Mm-hmm. But
Yes,
she was
one of my
pretty with her
favorite
glasses
tropes.
on,
What is it? Best tropes of cinema is, oh honey, you're absolutely beautiful. Just take your glasses off and
My God, you've been gorgeous this whole time.
It's like, yes, she has.
I can't remember.
It's very striking when we see her because we have Jonathan fighting for the camels. It's just chaos, and then she walks out, and it's kind of like we're looking at her from Rick's perspective, where everything stops, and she's just very striking with her eyes, and she's covered by the veil.
And she has beautiful eyes in this movie.
I found out where babies come from just because of that scene.
That scene was all the puberty talk I needed.
It was like like that montage of like the creation of the world and all like that. That just all went through my mind when I saw that. And I was like, whoa, yeah, everything. And then it's like, oh, that's where I came from.
She is the mother of all creation. Like, I know we're kind of like holding on to this moment, but it's like, it is like distracting how good looking everyone in this cast is.
Oh,
It is hilarious. But they finally like get the camels and they're trekking across the desert to Hamunaptra.
And this is one of my favorite bullshit parts of the movie is when they're going through the desert, and then we have Ardeth Bay on the cliff, and he sees Rick on the horse, and he's like, "This is a strong one." I'm like, "Do you have like supervision for all the way over here? You could tell that was that one guy you saw like 3 years ago."
Contact lenses.
Also,
superpowers.
I love that scene because if you noticed, it's the exact same shot from the first time you see him, where it's like the low like zoom in, and if you look at it, it's like they just color corrected it blue to make it night.
Yeah.
I think he's been there for 3 years on that hillside just watching.
That's his job. He's
Explains
gotta make
the tan.
Oh yeah, that's it.
beautiful glistening.
Oh
tan.
yeah, it's a great tan.
Solid. I don't know what this guy's doing with his hair out in the middle of the desert, but it's perfectly coiffed.
He's probably got that Head and Shoulders.
Yeah.
That was the key. The Medjai discovered Head and Shoulders hundreds, if not thousands of years before the rest of the world.
And then you wash it in the oasis.
Well, no, the oasis is very dangerous, but we'll get to that in the second movie. So,
But it's got magical properties.
yeah, it has a lot of the properties.
Oasis definitely does have magical properties.
But we Yes, it's a Wonderwall all over again.
Shut up.
So they finally get to where Hamunaptra is supposed to be, and the Americans meet them there.
One of the best scenes.
The grand magic reveal. Everything's all mystical with the sun hitting
the
it.
sun hitting it, all that. Oh yeah, that's like, this movie really feels like an adventure, and like this is like a great example of that adventure.
And it's crazy because if you think about it, this is based on a horror movie, and there's no scary horror movie bits for like half hour, 45 minutes of the movie. It's
Not until we get into Hamunaptra.
actually not until they start fucking digging.
And we get one of the best, Hamunaptras.
Oh, there it is. The treasure. Hamunaptra. So good. And it's said by the nerdy one.
Oh yeah,
I know. Well, he had to get it out before,
Before you, yeah.
I also like how the nerdy American also has one of the most chiseled jaw lines you could possibly find.
Those were fake glasses. I mean, come on.
They had to be, right?
I mean, you're stereotyping.
Stereotyping.
You're stereotyping the nerds. Nerds could be chiseled.
Mm-hmm. Doubtful. But he does get his Velma moment later in the movie, which
Yeah.
Kino. But they get the race to Hamunaptra, and Evie wins, not Rick. Evie wins because she is one with the camel, and they start the dig. And the dig is fun, back and forth, with the Americans having the whole like Egyptian army market to help dig, and it's
You have the
Evie and
Egyptologist where he's like, oh, they're following a woman.
what does a woman know?
She knows more than him.
She knows everything. And they
always do.
It's a thing.
Yes. So they start digging, and this is where we get the Beatles, the book, we find the mummy, there's like the raid. This is where like the movie switches from only action adventure to a little more like scary, spooky shit.
Mm-hmm.
Cause this is where we lose the warden.
That's my favorite. This is my favorite part of the whole movie.
Favorite part of the whole movie?
Yeah, blue gold.
Oh,
And then
blue
when he
gold. I think that
I
actor.
hate bugs.
I hate bugs. Did you hear that? I think he said bugs.
You said bugs? I hate bugs.
That actor, I think he's like a famous comedian or something in like England or whatnot, but he is killing it in that scene.
Oh yeah.
He's chewing up the scenery.
Yeah, and this is probably like one of the only parts of the movie where I look and I'm like, ooh, that didn't age well, where it's the bugs crawling up his chest. As a kid, super scary.
But it's still pretty gross.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
The
gross.
fact that it looks faker now makes it look kind of grosser.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, like as a kid I'm like, oh, this is the most horrifying thing I've ever seen. As an adult I'm like, oh, that is one of the grossest things I've ever
That's one of
seen.
the most horrifying CGIs I've ever seen.
It is just really funny how it's like, okay, because there's a lot of practicals. Like I would say like from the introduction to Rick and Benny all the way up to like here, there's like not a lot of CGI. It's mostly practical effects. But like right there I'm like, ooh, could we not have done that as a practical? That looks a little weird.
Probably would have hurt too much.
Yeah.
You don't want to get no bugs inside you.
Bugs? Did you say bugs?
Yeah.
Oh, we did. But yeah, so we lose the warden, and this is where the Americans basically just like acid bath like 3 of the workers.
Oh yeah, the Egyptian workers they get.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was sad.
Stupid, superstitious bastards. I love that part too. This place is cursed.
It's cursed. It's all cursed. And then Benny's like, yeah, it's fucking cursed, guys. Deuces.
Peace out.
And that's when they get the chest, and they crack it open. Why they cracked it open and stood around it so close that if there was an acid thing in there, they would all die. And this is where they find... the Book of the Dead, and they find the canopic jars.
Yeah, because the Americans are like, a book? That's
Yeah,
the treasure?
That's the treasure?
Really? And then, stupid stinking, we get that line, and then he kicks it, and then that's when we get the canopic jars. And then the Egyptologist is like, there you go, there's your treasure. And I'm like, yay, intestines and hearts, cool.
I still think it was milk in there.
Milk and cereal.
Very old milk and cereal. But they find that, and Evie, Jonathan, and Rick, who just kind of like, the warden died. Well, sucks for him. Let's keep digging. And they find the mummy.
Yeah, what is it? The
sarcophagus.
sarcophagus falls down from...
Jonathan, golfing just random pieces of rocks in
Mhm.
the...
Yeah, and they find Imhotep, and he looks... how does he look?
Juicy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And they're...
That's when they realize the key does work for something.
the key opens up Imhotep's sarcophagus, and it also opens up the book too.
Got
And
claw marks in there,
Okay.
which means he was buried alive.
okay, this is where we're going back into horror movie territory, where it's like, oh god, they committed a humda on him,
The humdai.
the humdai, and it's like it was so dangerous they never used it.
This is where we circle back, because we see him being turned into a mummy at the beginning of the movie,
Mhm.
which is terrifying, and Arnold Vosloo was, kind of panicking because he was wrapped up in bandages for hours, and
It's the same thing that they did with the Bride of Frankenstein.
Elsa Lanchester.
Yeah, where it's like they get wrapped up so tight like they actually
They
can't
can't breathe.
move.
Yeah. So, it's this thing where it looks terrifying, and then you load in the bugs with him. And I'm like, oh my god, this is terrifying. I can't even. And then we're seeing the results of this, and that he was alive. And I was reading somewhere, I guess, from like the novelization of the book, or of the movie, was they explain it a little bit more about why he ends up being juicy. Is that he was eating the bugs, and that was kind of sustaining him for a while. So he was alive in there for a bit. And it was a thing where if you ate the scarabs, it was that was also a curse or whatever. It would just like add on to your years that you would basically be in hell. So it's just like,
Man, he got fucked coming and going on that
he
one.
did. So that explains why, that's why there's the writing in there. Because dude was alive for, I don't know, maybe a couple of years in there. Which is even a scarier idea. It's like, fuck.
When you're buried alive for a while, but there's still food coming in, you're like, man, this really sucks. Also, where am I pooping? Also,
And the food's eating you.
Yeah, it's just, that's a cycle.
it's the circle of life. But yeah, so they find the mummy, and this is when we get a real introduction to the Medjai, instead of being the mysterious people who just only live on that one cliff and never leave it. They raid the camp, and this is where like Ardith Bey and his boys, they come in. They get killing a bunch of nameless henchmen.
Yes.
Mhm.
Until Rick gets the dynamite out, and he
Which is
pulls
one of the coolest things ever.
he's pulling the fucking like Kurt Russell from The Thing, and he's like, "We'll all go up right here, goddammit." I love that shit.
And then he just takes the thing out, throws it, all good.
Oh, yeah, and the Medjai tell him like, leave by tomorrow, and he's like, I slept dynamite. He's like, all right, later, we'll see you guys tomorrow, and fucking leave. And I think it's right after that. That's when Evie, in a drunken stupor, tries to kiss Rick.
Mhm.
Right. But then when she wakes up from her drunken stupor, she's like, I'm gonna read from this ancient cursed book. Totally not a bad idea.
I mean, you totally skipped over one of her best lines in the movie.
What's a
What's a place like me doing in a girl like this?
great line? Top 5 lines.
I don't know what I would be doing in a girl like that.
It would. Well, how's the song go? Your body is a wonderland. Is that it?
Have you been listening to John Mayer again?
Quiet, yo.
Did you go to the Grateful Dead shows?
Oh god. Oh, that's right. He's like does guitar for Grateful Dead now.
Yeah, it's over now. Thank God.
Oh, okay. It is okay. I
He's a
listen.
good guitar player.
Good guitar player, but I listened to like a John Mayer like album because I'm like, okay, like it was just free on fucking YouTube.
He told me this, and I was like,
Yeah.
what?
Well, okay, so like I was like bored, and I was like, I'm just listening to random albums, and I was like, John Mayer, okay, I know that name, but I've never listened to any John Mayer like music, and I'm like, so this is what mom rock sounds like.
Oh yeah, that's it.
That's like, what is it? There's a genre of music that needs to be more well known called minivan rock. John Mayer, 9 Days, those guys. That is minivan rock.
I thought you were gonna say the Mummy score. That needs to be more publicized. People need to listen to that.
Well, I mean, people should. What,
It should, yeah.
Who does the score for this? It's
This
some
one-
Goldsmith.
Is it?
Goldstein?
Oh, it's right here on the back. Jerry Goldsmith.
Jared
Because
Goldsmith.
the second one's Alan Silvestri.
Yes.
I found out because what is it? Jared Goldsmith thought this movie was mindless trash and said that in a screening of the movie that he didn't know Stephen Sommers was in, and Stephen Sommers was like, "Well, fuck you too, dude. I'm getting somebody else for the next movie."
Yeah.
Yeah, but he does do fucking great work in
Oh
this.
my god.
Oh, yeah,
The music is
It's a
beautiful.
banger.
It's a banger.
It's a banger.
That's my line. Why'd you steal it?
Because I had to get there before you did.
Damn it, he did. But yeah, the music in this is fucking great. It's really reminiscent of like Lawrence of Arabia and
Indiana Jones.
And Indiana Jones. Cribbing notes from the best.
So then she steals the book
Yes. She
of the
steals
dead.
totally
Reads from it.
totally a good idea. Nothing ever bad happened from reading a book. And once she reads the book, it begins. The fucking locusts come in. The locusts come in. Everyone's freaking out.
Which that part's freaky too when the
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 guys.
guy's holding the book and he's covered in the locust.
And he's like,
What have we done?
What have we done? And I'm like, first
Like,
of all,
you should have fucking known that was gonna happen.
also, like,
if you had the information that you can't read from the book, wouldn't you tell everybody, hey, don't be looking at this book and trying to read it. Like,
Mhm.
don't do it.
also, why don't you hide it a little bit better when you go to sleep instead of clutching it in your arms?
Why
And
do you-
apparently you're a heavy sleeper.
Why do you go look for it in the first place?
Why do you go to sleep with a big ass book and a canopic jar in your other arm? That doesn't seem comfortable.
Well, okay, why do you go to sleep with, a canopic jar and giant book in your arms?
I don't.
You're
I
missing
I
out.
keep my Book of the Dead on a shelf.
Why didn't he have it on a
That's
shelf?
where books belong. Not in hands.
They're to be observed, not held,
Yeah.
obviously.
Obviously.
We're
Especially
very.
a book that fucking heavy.
That's another thing. Like, isn't that like a joke? Like
Yeah.
these books would weigh like hundreds of pounds.
Yeah, no, the actual Book of the Dead is papyrus, obviously.
Yeah.
So that's why it was this thing where it's like they would never make it out of these these gold plates that no one could handle. But for movie wise, it's gotta look, pretty badass.
It looks nice.
Yeah.
Have you ever like listened to the commentary for these movies?
No, it's
No.
not on the VHS tape.
Okay. Well, if you ever do, Steven Sommers and like when he's doing the commentary, he just loves pointing out all the dumb shit about his own movies.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, that book, it would have been way too heavy to actually like use for anything. That's super dumb. There's also a bunch of stuff where he points out like weird continuity errors in the movie, or he's like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense, but it looked really cool when we did it. Like these are great commentary tracks if you get the chance. But
But that scene where he's covered in the grasshoppers or
it's a locust, I think.
whatever
Think of the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. whatever it is. I guess they had to shoot it a couple of times because he just couldn't keep a straight face because the bugs are just moving all over. I'd be in tears and be like, please, you're not paying me enough. I can't do
He's
this.
like, yes, we fucking are. Take 36, goddammit.
Oh, like the other bugs were CGI. Why aren't these ones? That would look stupid.
Steven, this is like the 5th bug up my nose. I don't think I could take anymore.
You can take as much as I damn well say. Another take. Set up. Get the lights.
What have we done? He's like, perfect, cut.
Oh god, it is fucking great because the plagues of Egypt are coming in because we only get like what 4 or 5 of them, and they just kind of skip it on the rest.
Yeah.
But the plagues of Egypt that are coming in is like, oh, you get the locusts, the meteors, you get
the water turning into blood.
water turning into
The
blood,
eclipse.
blood. You get like the good ones. But this is
Oh, the meteors. Did you actually know what they used to make that?
and what?
For like the little parts of the meteors that were breaking off was actually dog food that they painted white, dry dog food.
Interesting.
So for you guys, when you're doing your next movie, you guys want to do something like that.
I think
We can
think
feed
we
the
have
cast dog food.
we have something already planned for that. Yeah.
Yes.
We got the cat food at the factory.
Oh, interesting.
We know what's up. But this is also where Imhotep finally rises. you
Yeah.
know?
He's regenerating.
He's coming back. He's gonna get that ass, and he almost gets Evie's ass. Almost.
He does, and when he's doing that, it reminded me of "Remember the Time" by Michael Jackson with the sand coming in through the keyhole.
God.
One of the greatest music videos ever made.
Oh, that's right. I never thought about that.
God, you know more of Michael Jackson's music videos than I do. I know Captain EO and Thriller. Okay, and beat it.
What
Okay.
About, what about bad?
Bad's
And
one
bad.
of the best ones.
Fuck, goddamn, there's a lot of good
Billie
ones.
Jean.
Okay, I know the ones for his good songs.
Remember the Time is one of his best songs.
What are his bad songs?
Yeah.
Well, there's bad. Who's bad?
And then Imhotep.
Then Imhotep rises.
But yeah, we got to get him. Getting the nerdy guy.
Yes.
That's a great scene. That's a pretty creepy part.
Well, we gotta talk. Yeah, we gotta talk about Mr. Burns.
Yeah, Mr. Burns, him meeting Benny. Like, there's a whole thing. So the Americans are running away because the scarab beetles have finally like broken through and they're like attacking everybody, right? Because it has begun.
The locusts have driven them back into like the tomb, I guess.
Yeah.
They're underground. They're trying to get away from the locusts, and then that's when we start getting the scarabs, and it turns into kind of like Scooby-Doo. Everyone's running around trying to evade. And that's when Evie meets the mummy.
Yes, Evie. No. Burns gets caught first because they're running. He falls over. He has his Velma moment. It's like, where are my glasses? I can't see without my glasses. And Benny comes in, stomps his glasses a few times, and runs away.
He just looks at him and runs away.
Yeah. I love Benny. Benny, king of self-preservation. Saint Benny of self-preservation. Never change. So Burns is hand out, trying to find like, where is everybody? Somebody help me. Gets the gun out. What he's going to shoot, I don't fucking know, but Imhoteph's there. And it is shot so well with like super like out of focus, like super shallow depth of field. You only really see like
the outline.
Just the outline or in like the whoosh.
There you go.
Great sound effects in this movie.
No, I do love the sound effects in this movie. The way the guns sound, like just like when they're moving them, crisp.
I actually got some interesting for you. This movie only was nominated for 1 Oscar, and it was only for sound.
It's great sound.
Yeah, it lost its sound out to Matrix, which
I guess.
Yeah. And it was like wild to me because it was also up against like The Green Mile, The Insider, and Star Wars Episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
Which, guys, The Mummy, Matrix, Green Mile, and Episode 1 all came out in the same year.
That's wild.
Oh no, you know what else is wild? You know what else came out in 1999? American Beauty, Sixth Sense, Being John Malkovich, Girl Interrupted, Talented Mr. Ripley, Fight Club, Sleepy Hollow. That was just the movies nominated for Oscars.
What about Magnolia?
Magnolia?
You didn't even name Magnolia.
Yes.
What is your problem, Dean?
Watch Magnolia again. It's not nearly as good as you think it is.
I watch it like every few months on VHS.
Of course.
Double VHS.
Is it that long? It needs 2 VHS?
3 hours and 8 minutes.
Fuck, God, that movie's long as shit. But yeah, like 1999 was a solid fucking year.
Mm-hmm.
Solid fucking year.
It was a banger.
It was a banger year.
Did you say American Beauty?
American Beauty. That was, this is the year that American Beauty won Best Picture.
Yeah.
But
should have been Magnolia.
Should have been The Mummy.
Should have been The Mummy.
Well, The Mummy should have been nominated.
Should have been.
Should have won Best Sound for sure.
I think so. Like The Matrix is like has good sound stuff in it, but a lot of it's like very practical sound. I feel like The Mummy has a lot more atmosphere sound going on.
I feel like Matrix sound. It's like it's just I don't know how to explain it. It's like it's a lot of like music and stuff and like this and that, but the sounds in this like the smallest little thing. It's like, ooh, that's a good sound.
The whoosh, like the whole thing about like how Imhotep, how his movements. Like his movements in the robes, like there's weird sounds that don't sound right.
I love the sounds of Hamunaptra out like in the desert.
Yeah.
Where it's just the or oh yeah, the curse. And then you have Rick. I hate it when that happens every time.
Yeah, every time.
Or even just when the key opens, that click. Ah, it's a great sound.
And the music plays underneath.
Yeah.
And it's so majestic.
There's a lot of really solid production stuff going on in this movie.
I mean, even the sound of the scarabs.
Oh, yeah.
It's terrifying, and then you find out that it's really just a rain stick.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I've played with those 100 times, and it's like, yeah, now I hear it, and now I'm going to be afraid of rain sticks.
You're not already afraid of rain sticks?
No, I'm afraid of scarabs.
Oh.
You remember the tram at Universal Studios?
That was...
Yep.
I was going to bring that up. That's like, besides this movie, that is a core memory. Like that, like they have the roller coaster.
Yeah, the Mummy ride.
Yeah, that's fine. But that part in the tram...
Terrifying.
Oh my god, that was so cool.
Remember when it had like the video guy and you'd be like, "Oh, I'm here with the ancient Egypt thing," and then it would black out and come up and he'd be a skeleton.
It was their version of their Indiana Jones ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you'd go speeding through like the tunnel, and then you'd have the scarabs come out, and then if you knew, you would just like lift up your feet so you wouldn't have to feel like the vibration, and then you hear everyone else.
But you didn't want to though.
Yeah.
I didn't want one rogue one to come out and I'd be like, oh my god, it's crawling up my leg.
This movie has so many of those like core memory moments. Like for me, like I remember like the VHS stuff I remember the roller coaster at Universal like super, super well. I was sad because they took it out no, it's still there. They took out King Kong to get the Mummy ride. That's what it was.
What?
You don't remember? You don't remember that? I think there was like a King Kong ride before the Mummy was there. What was there before?
They had King Kong. They had the King Kong on the tram ride, but it caught on fire.
Yeah, that caught on fire, and then
they replaced it with the 360 King Kong, which was pretty freaking cool.
It's cool, but I'd rather have the Mummy.
I mean, I would too.
What was there at the? Because there was something there before the Mummy roller coaster. There was something there before.
Oh, it was E.T.
No,
was it E.T.?
It was E.T. Yeah, I'm upset they took out E.T.
Me too.
Was that? I thought E.T. was still there.
No, E.T.'s gone.
That was
E.T.'s
E.T., and then right next to it, they had like this showroom that would change into different things. And I think the last thing that was there was all the costumes from I Love Lucy.
Oh, okay.
And then behind that, they had like the Clump House, where it was just like everything from the movie that you could walk through.
Mm-hmm.
I miss old Universal.
Oh, me too. And they had Backdraft, but now that's the Transformers ride, right?
Yeah,
I loved like because what is it? You would go like Backdraft, and right next to it was like the sound or like the stage, right? Where
like they would do
the makeup effects.
The makeup effects, and they'd have like the big wolf, and then he would like go and like attack.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or like going on Jurassic Park, like getting absolutely soaked, and then going to Backdraft and leaving that place dry.
That was the lineup. That was the thing.
They knew it. They set it up like, people just go into Backdraft, they'll dry off.
Yeah.
Oh God, I loved going into like Backdraft. Like that's a core. I've never seen the movie, but I've been in that ride or that experience, whatever you want to call it, like a million times.
I remember it used to scare me.
Yeah.
It would get so hot, and you're like, that's like real fire.
And then, like, you're like, how does Kiss do that every night?
Gene Simmons is like, I only lit my hair on fire once. It got better.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm sad that I did miss out on Universal? Was apparently when they opened the ride for the Mummy on both coasts, when it would get like the line would get super long because it's a new ride, and it takes hours to get into a line for our rides here. Apparently people would be standing in line and they'd start chanting Imoteph.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm like, oh fuck. I'm like, that doesn't happen when you go to Universal Studios now. It's just
it's totally different now.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been in like 10 years, but even 10 years ago it was different from when growing up.
I mean, we go for
horror nights, and that's
horror
like
nights.
it. Like sometimes we'll go like, I think we've gone during the day like once or twice, I think. But even then it's like still around horror nights, so like half the place is like set up for Halloween. So, man, old Universal was like the best.
We got to get them to do a mummy maze for horror nights from now on.
I mean, last year they did I think it was like 3 of the horror icons.
Yeah, it was like Dracula, Frankenstein, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde was one.
That's 4.
That wasn't last year. That
was
was
like a few years ago. Look, time
Dracula,
is
the Wolfman and the
wandering
Mummy.
sea.
But I mean, the mummy part of that maze was so small. It's like we need like an actual like mummy maze, because the Returns mummy maze was terrifying.
But you know what else is terrifying? The Mummy.
Yes,
when he corners Evie. And this is the first time we get to see like Imhotep full CGI model and like the spooky mummy in his like gear, right?
Yeah.
You got a big old grin on your face.
Because when I was little,
mm-hmm.
and I still think it because I always thought it when I was little, I always thought, so when he was like, like decompositional, like ooze, I always thought he looked like a shit.
He looked like poo.
He looked like poop. Like, not like, oh, he looks like shit. I'm like, that guy's made of poop.
I mean, now I'm never going to be able to unsee that because he kind of does look like poop.
He looks like poop, doesn't he? Not in the second. He doesn't look like poop in the second one.
No.
The first one, he looks like poop. You're like, dang, that's a poop.
That's a poop. Yeah.
He looks like a steaming turd.
Also, it is funny to me because like in that he's like all gooey and whatever, but when he starts moving around and when he's like cornering Evie, I'm like, you are stone dry now. You're not gooey at all anymore. You're a dry poop.
There's no way you're that dry in the same room as Rachel Weisz.
Impossible. It says, "What is the Nile in here?"
Exactly.
Still a great one.
And I love that. I love that he corners like Evie, and he's like, Anck-su-namun. And I like how he says it like, "Bitch, is that you? Fuck, I got the worst eyes in this movie."
Yeah, his eyes
Mine's been
up.
closed for like 3,000 years.
3,000 years, and the ones I got ain't good.
And then Rick comes in, he's like, "What the fuck is that?" Which
And he just starts blasting.
I don't know what happened. I just started blasting.
And you've got, Mr. Burns crawling away because, he's got his eyes ripped out, his tongue ripped out.
Yeah, when he turns around and he's like, oh.
Oh God,
Oh.
that
looks great.
That
And he's
scares
like,
the
"Don't leave
shit out
me,"
of
and
me.
he's like, no.
It took my eyes, my tongue. Like, yeah, when he turns around and it's like the
Oh,
empty
yeah.
eye sockets, I'm like, oh, that gives me the heebie-jeebies. God damn. But they managed to escape Imhotep. They're back in Cairo.
Cairo, yeah.
And I like how Rick's like, "We're getting the fuck out of here. Pack your shit. We're gone." Evie's like, "But we need to save the world."
And that's
no,
a great,
we fucking don't.
That's a great gag too when they're throwing everything in and out, and then she closes it on his hands. He's like, ah.
I love that so much because like, they're having their bickering moment, and it's like the development of their relationship, right? Because we've established like, oh, they like each other. Oh, they're into each other, but they are like fundamentally like, no, fuck you, no, fuck you.
And then they fuck.
And then, well, it happens between 1 and 2. Like,
oh yeah.
The math works out.
Yeah.
But they're like, what are we gonna do now? And this is where we meet Winston for the first time.
Yeah.
Love Winston.
World War, or a member of the British Royal Air Force, hero.
Somebody spilled their drink.
And walks through the fucking pond, or walks through the fucking
Yeah, well, he's
fountain.
walking through the fountain.
Walking through the fountain. And this is where we get like
Colonialism
Yes, this movie
personified.
Yes, this movie is like anti-English, anti-American. This is a movie for the people. God damn it.
And then we get blood.
Yeah, they get
Blood.
I love that where all of them are like, well, here's the going home. They all drink and in unison spit up the stuff, and it cuts around, everyone's spitting it. I was like, this tastes like shit. No, it tastes like blood. And this is where like the meteors start showing up, like actually, and this is where
And the eclipse.
And this is like Imhotep and Benny are now homies.
You got him with that freaky stone mask or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That mask is cool
The
though.
death mask.
It is like really creepy. Honestly, I'm like, this. If he just wore that throughout the whole movie, I would be more scared.
Oh yeah.
If they're like he's regenerating, but he still has the thing on. Again, heebie-jeebies.
But this is also one of my other favorite parts is when they've got Burns in there. And, he's trying to get the rest of his skin, and he like hands him the tea and he knocks it over him, and he's like, oh.
Benny's like,
That
it's
part
okay.
kills me.
Imhotep, it's okay. Prince Imhotep wants to thank you for your time and your eyes and your tongue. And Burns starts whimpering and getting scared. I'm like, oh no.
But he's gonna need more.
Oh God, that.
And then when you see him again, he's just all.
that I love that because that's the turn of Benny being like slimy comic relief to like full-fledged villain.
Oh yeah.
And like right after that, he's going through like the professor's place, and this is where Rick meets them, and Rick nails Benny with that fucking chair.
Oh yeah.
Like he's
when he's coming down the stairs and he runs back up and he's like, "Hey, where are you going?"
So apparently, this scene, Kevin J. O'Connor took a beating from Brendan Fraser because I guess they just kept reshooting it over and over again. So they had to like ice him down. But specifically, they added in there he had to ice down his nipples. I'm like, what?
His nipples?
Like, is there a cut scene where Brendan Fraser or
He's
Rick's
giving him
just
purple
like,
nurples?
Purple nurples. Tell me,
He's like,
Rachel.
God, that would. I need to know why his nips.
I want to know that too. I need to know this information. But the chair, that's fucking awesome.
Oh, that chair was
And even
I love
Jonathan's
that.
like, God damn, that was a good one.
I like it because it's like there's it's like it's an action. This is an action adventure movie, and it's like we're here for the cool spectacle. Mommy's gunfire, and it's like, man, that chair looked like it fucking hurt.
Oh yeah.
That looked like that. Whoever took that chair, whatever stuntman, that guy fucking hurt.
You're
after
watching
that.
people get shot and like fucking
Stabbed.
like stabbed, getting their
falling out of windows,
getting their skin sucked out of them. But the moment someone gets hit with a chair, you're like, ooh.
WWE learned that years ago.
I've fallen out a window. It's all good.
Jesus.
You just roll with it.
And they
Benny gets thrown out the window.
He gets
No,
he
he
jumps.
No, he
out
jumps.
the-
Yeah,
he
he jumps out
jumps.
the window.
I like how Benny's like 3 stories or dealing with Rick. Man, I'm gonna taste this ground so good right now. Jumps out.
He gets up pretty quick.
Well,
They
and-
do. I love the Texas switch where the
Yeah.
stuntman jumps out and then like somehow 12 feet closer to camera,
Yeah.
he pops up like 3 seconds and what is it? Oh,
I like that he jumps into, the 1930s trash cans too. Just the when
And
he's
it-
just like, okay, let me fix my hat and I'm good.
yeah. Benny gets up, his eyes are spinning around like a cartoon. He's like, oh wow, I don't know what happened, and
Is
just
he-
starts roaming
He
around.
like falls straight down, but like somehow like out of camera view, he just slides 12 feet and then up.
Yeah, he goes from being like, man, he's like way back there. Now he's like perfect frame, like chin to head. Oh god.
Gravity.
And this is like the first instance where Imhotep, this is where he's actually going through and killing the Americans to regenerate.
Yeah.
Because that's the curse that's on the chest. Whoever takes the canopic jars, they're
Yeah,
gonna
they're-
get got. They're
And
mummy food.
and this is where Imhotep kills the
Egyptologist.
Egyptologist. And this is the scariest I think Imhotep looks, where it's that pale skin, there's holes, and it's like he almost looks human, but just not enough. Oh, he has pictures.
That's it, yeah.
Like I love that look. I think that was like the scariest
Most
mummy
unsettling.
look. Yeah, that's a good word for it. It's like he's almost human, but he's not, and that like fucks with my uncanny valley.
It's like that white poop you see at the park.
Exactly. The one where it's like, somebody left you in there a little too long.
Yeah.
Oh, all the color's been sucked out of you. Wait, did Imhotep come here?
Yeah, he's just regenerating the poop.
And this is finally where Evie and Imhotep, they're like they meet in earnest, right? Like he comes in, he's
Well,
trying to take her.
He gets the cowboy first.
Oh yeah, he gets the cowboy.
Where
Yeah,
they
because they're
have
outside the door.
The shadow fight.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Great shots there. Also,
And then
why doesn't
eats the-
Imhotep do that to everyone? Be like, I just turn into a sandstorm and suck you dry. Why? I should just do that all the time.
I wish Rachel Weisz would do that.
Just turn into a sandstorm and suck you dry. Or do you want just one of those?
Just the latter part.
Ah, yes. Not the sandstorm.
Yeah, no. I mean, in a sandstorm, it's fine, but
You see Alex, I hate sand.
it's coarse.
I look over and I'm like, where did he get the Jedi tail and the robes?
It's a Medjai tale.
A Medjai
Yes.
tail. So, they Imhotep and Evie, they
he
meet.
has his Dracula moment with
Yeah,
her.
yes,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
he
yeah.
lays one on Rachel. Also, I love how now,
Ooh.
like,
Yeah.
where like the scarab comes out, crawls into his
Oh,
mouth, and
chews
starts
it.
chewing it.
He's got a little snack, yeah.
I found out that apparently that effect took forever to
Mhm.
get right because because he's wearing like just green screen like stickers on his face,
Yeah.
and they had to time it so the scarab effect worked exactly right for him to like catch it in his mouth and start chewing in it. Apparently that took like 2 days to get right. Like it took a fucking forever.
2 days seems like a short time.
2 days, and that's the only thing you're doing, man. I don't know.
That
It's
and
one
they had
close-up.
ILM. I mean, it's like, if you're going to do these kind of effects, that's
Yeah.
how you do it. Yep.
Oh, yeah, and
Everything's on the back of the box.
the kiss, where I love how when he kisses Evie, his face starts like decomposing away, and then she
Yeah.
wakes up like, "What the fuck is this?"
He just rolls out of the bed.
Also,
And Rick, get your ugly face off her.
what is it? And that's when he pulls out the cat. And he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh," and he runs away.
The cat named Cleo.
The cat. Oh, it is named Cleo.
It is named Cleo.
Oh, that's
It's
adorable.
like the most like common cat name, but it's perfect. I knew a dog named Cleo actually.
That's wrong. It's wrong. Should only be
you
cats.
tell my Aunt Deb.
Yeah,
I'll
you
let her
tell
know.
Aunt Deb that.
I'll let her know.
She lives on
goddammit.
the East Coast. She'll fuck you up.
Oh, that's far. That's far as hell. So, right after that moment, that's when they go meet like the museum curator.
Yeah.
That's when Ardith Bay shows up,
And
or
that's
sorry,
when-
Ardith Bay
Ardith Bay. Yeah.
shows up, and then they're like, "So, how do we kill this mummy?" And
Well,
they're
that's
like,
when we find
"Well,"
out that the curator is part of the Medjai, and he's like, "We've been trying to keep this under wraps for 3,000 years, and you guys could just come and fuck it up in a
Yep.
couple of days."
And you think that's okay to kill people? Let me think about it.
Yes.
It's good shit. It's good shit. I love the back and forth in the dialogue in this movie. That feels most like the original Mummy. That snappy kind of back and forth dialogue.
And then
Yeah.
we get the car.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the car chase.
the car chase is awesome.
Because
Like
like,
the car itself.
Oh yeah,
because right here they're
just
like,
mowing down the peeps in the street.
because they
It's
got
like,
because they got to get
just
away
hit the
from
gas.
Imhotep and his
Minions.
minions.
You're
of,
gonna get
you know,
yours, Benny. You're gonna
"Gotta
get yours.
Like
I've never heard that before.
So fucking good. So fucking good. And okay. My brother came in and was like, "Hey, Dean, we gotta go, like, get food or whatever." And I'm like, "Okay, the car scene's about to happen. After the car scene, we'll go." Because I'm like, I'm not missing this fucking car scene. Because it's the car chase through the streets of Cairo. They're like plowing through people. They're punching. This is like the most like two-fisted pulp hero action you
This
get.
is the Indiana Jones scene.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even that fast of a car chase.
They're going like fucking 35.
Yeah, I mean probably as fast as they can go back then, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's weighed down by like 30 people.
yeah.
And this
People
is
are just flying everywhere
where we lose the last American, who
with his arm in his jacket.
yeah,
Which you would have thought he would have died sooner.
The whole movie is like, put your fucking jacket on.
Why'd you even bring a jacket to Egypt?
It's hot.
It's funny because like out of all the Americans, he's the one that has the least off the mark character,
Mhm.
right? Because it's like, oh well, there's like the Texas like cowboy, there's the nerd, and then there's the guy who wears his jacket weird.
I also like when, they have to jump off the boat and they're going to, land, and he's, in the water. Also, he goes, this is a messed up country. It's
Yeah.
like, it's so stupid. Like, shut up.
Well,
Like, just get on land.
well, it is a messed up country because he unloads all of his guns and he's like, well, shit, I guess I'm dead now. Oh,
No, I like when he sees
well,
Imhotep
shit.
and he just throws his guns on the floor,
Yeah.
like, well, shit.
And he tries to give him the job. Be like, we good? We good, dog? Right? Right? Oh no, we ain't good.
And we should have got like a reveal of his arm.
Oh,
Finally,
you
we
finally
see it.
see what his other arm. We see
It's all
his-
mummified.
he sees. Yeah. Oh, that would be so good. You see his other arm. It's all mummified. And he's like, Imhotep, sir, and he like bows to him. And he's like, oh, it's a twist. He was a bad guy the whole time.
It doesn't make any sense, but I love it.
Not even a little bit.
Imhotep should have
Steven-
taken his jacket.
Steven Summers in the commentary is like, yeah, this didn't make any fucking sense, but I loved it.
It was. It looked fucking cool. So
That's his real arm. His real arm is like actually mummified.
we don't know how it happened. He refused to tell us.
He won't tell us anything.
We kept telling him, put your jacket on. He just wouldn't do it.
Actually, we didn't even hire him. He just showed up on set and he just started working. Everyone was really confused.
And bitching and moaning about things.
He never took anything from Kraft, so it wasn't a problem.
Yeah. Didn't have to pay him. We gave it decent performance.
We'd lose a crew member every once in a while. We'd find them without skin, but hey,
It happens.
It's the what else are you gonna do?
it's Hollywood, baby.
And then the trade happens.
Yeah, this is where we get full power Imhotep,
I'll
and
be seeing you.
he dips the torch at him.
Which also, the torches look delicious in this movie.
Yes.
I don't know what it is
They
about.
look like honeycombs.
I don't know what it is about movies that are like lit with like actual fire, not like CGI fire, like actual fire. It looks so cool.
And I guess it was a bitch to light these torches because they'd only last for like 3 to 5 minutes. So they had to keep relighting them. It was only Benny that got a special torch at the very end of the movie.
Oh, to make the effect
yeah.
work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had it, like, I guess in his shirt where he was able to kind of, like, dim it. I
Mm,
was like, fuck yeah.
super cool.
Dimmer switch.
But yeah, they capture Evie, and Rick and the boys, they manage to escape, and they're like, we're gonna have to get to Hamunaptra so we can save the girl, save the world, and look good while doing it. So they go to Winston, and this is probably the most iconic moment of the movie with the sandstorm chasing them
Yeah.
And the cool airplane.
in the cool airplane. I love it when they
No, that's on the ground. Never mind.
Ah.
But the airplane's there.
Oh, cool. So they get into the airplane, and I love how they're flying, and Rick's like, are you doing okay? And Jonathan's like, this is the worst experience ever. Looks
Yeah.
over to Art of the Bay, and he's like, this is sweet.
No, he just looks terrified. He's never flown before. And he's like, what is this? I have to hang on the wing?
But he looks like he's having a good time though.
He's like, this is so cool.
He's got the cool hat.
Oh yeah.
I love the hat, the little goggle gimmick.
He's just like,
Oh, and like we get the sandstorm, and it is like this is like the impressive CGI effect
Yeah,
for
I don't
the
know
movie,
why that wasn't nominated for special effects.
right?
I mean, I like how we also see how Imhotep travels with his, his minion Benny and then Evie. They're just like in this tornado, and he just like yeets them out into the sand.
They get thrown out, and they're like, "Oh god, this."
And they just
Yeah.
Imhotep walks out.
Costume change.
I like how Benny is just like Benny looks like disheveled and beat up, and then Rachel Weisz gets up and she just looks like more attractive than when he captured her. And
no,
I'm
Benny's like, I need to get a new job.
yeah, he's like every time.
He's doing the magic thing with a sandstorm, and it's like, oh, he almost kills Rick and everybody, but then Evie's like, I know what'll distract any man from killing another one. Getting a kiss from Rachel Weisz.
Mm-hmm.
Which works. Factual. If you ever need, to distract somebody, just have Rachel Weisz kiss somebody. It'll buy you at least 5 minutes. And the machine in the plane crashes, or yes,
the flying mechanism.
The flying machine. This newfangled flying machine crashes into the sand.
Witchcraft.
It's witchcraft, and then Benny hits him with the I love what you did there. The whole sand thing, just like oh my god,
inspiring.
And then Winston's dead.
Winston dies
with a smile on his face.
Yeah, and then the plane sinks
into the quicksand, which
I don't think it. I think it just sinks.
I thought
Ardeth Bay is pretty convinced it's quicksand.
I guess, yeah.
I thought there'd be more quicksand I would encounter in my everyday life as an adult, and I was very wrong. Very wrong.
Are you just jumping into sandboxes waiting to go?
I'm just no. I just want to see. I don't jump into sandboxes. There might be quicksand in there. Usually, it's just cat poop.
Next time you go to a wood-chipped park, you sink. You're like, what the hell? This is complete opposite.
This is it. It's happening.
Stephen Sommers, he had the quicksand in his Jungle Book movie too.
Oh yeah.
But that was quicksand. People would just.
That wasn't quicksand. It was just a pond with dirt over it.
Yeah, but man, that scared me.
Oh god, the sandstorm. Okay, they returned Hamunaptra. All right, they're at Hamunaptra now, and
we go back into the room where he first tries to bring back Anck-su-namun the first time, which it's creepier this time when we go back, and he's walking down the stairs, and it's like you're watching history repeat, but it's all there's cobwebs everywhere, and it's just you could tell the shift in time.
Would there be spiders there though? That's one thing I always think about.
You never see the spiders.
Never see no spiders.
And it'd be those would be some big ass spiders, because those are some big ass webs.
Yeah.
Also, what are they eating? It's been 3,000 years. What are they eating in the desert?
Maybe the bugs.
Maybe they're
scarabs?
mummies. Maybe they're mummy spiders.
Oh
spiders?
God, something to make me even more.
They're mummified spiders.
Yo. Why wasn't that in any of the sequels?
Right? Well, we're going to get into weird mummified things later in the second movie, but yes, they're back at Hamunaptra, and Imhotep's like, I'm going to bring back my girlfriend because I'm totally not clingy or anything.
Oh yeah, he's dogging for it.
He's a simp.
Emo simp right here. And he's trying to raise Anck-su-namun, which he does, but doesn't complete the ritual, while Rick, Ardeth Bay, Jonathan, they're trying to get to Evie. And
they've got to get the Book of the Living so that they could kill Imoteph.
Yes. And right around here, this is where they find the book, and Ardeth Bay is like, I'm going to stay behind and, fight off all these, the mummy henchmen while you guys go save Evie. And we're like, no, not Ardeth Bay. Oh, no. And that's when Jonathan and Rick get into the final showdown with Imoteph.
Great set piece.
Yeah.
Super good set piece. Because this
amazing action.
Yes, this is in terms of final showdown action adventure moments.
This is one of the best.
Absolutely. This is
it's funny. It's fun. It's scary. It's got everything.
The effects here are also really solid. All the practical monster men, the stuntmen, look really good. The warriors, when they show up and they're doing the leaps and shit, they look so fucking cool. You've got
hands coming out of the sand.
Oh man.
Also, how Rick O'Connell, Brendan Fraser, is doing the sword stuff, and every time he hits one of the mummies, they burst into sand, and I'm like, that probably took forever to get right with the choreography.
The sword sound effects, whenever a blade's going into something in this movie, it sounds painful but also awesome.
And just the talent of Brendan Fraser that he's able to act off of nothing.
Yeah.
And make it look like, oh yeah, there are mummies there that are trying to kill him.
When he gets that one, like, with the head, he, like, accidentally kills the one, and then gets the other one, and the head's stuck. Oh, man.
You got the mummy with, like, the tombstone that he's gonna drop on him, and Rick's like, nah, got your legs.
In terms of sweet action climaxes, this is so good. Like, there is not a Marvel movie, like Marvel superhero movie, that even comes close to how like hyped I am at the end of this. Which, like, I kind of like trashing on Marvel movies because none of them are as good as The Mummy, but life happens. But like, we get this 6 showdown. Jonathan's trying to read the book to try and like find something to defeat Imhotep.
He's trying to gain control of the soldiers.
Yeah. Which
when they do it, when they turn, is pretty freaking cool too.
Yeah.
When he finally gets the like the spell right, and then he's like, "Go kill an Anck-su-namun," and Imhotep's like, "No, not again." And it's like, I love Arnold Vosloo because he just like holds his arms. I was like, "No."
And it's the great shadow work, kind of like with what was it, Errol Flynn?
Oh yeah. Well, it's also like calling back to like the beginning of the movie too, where it's like he sees an Anck-su-namun like stabbing herself in the shadow, and now she's getting killed in the shadow,
butchered.
And
then the water soul ghost thing.
When they do the spell and they take his immortality.
Okay, that is the one CGI effect in this movie I do not think ages well. Is that weird like water ghost thing? That just looks like PlayStation 2.
I always thought it was
graphics.
Goo. I didn't know it was water. I thought it was goo.
It looks like
gooey.
It looks like like gelatin has gained sentience.
Yeah, the blob.
Yes, it looks like the blob.
Yeah.
It looks like the blob. But we finally get it, and now that like it's now Rick versus Imhotep, showdown for the ages. Rick's not winning this one, but Evie, because she's a strong, independent woman, don't need no man, is able to summon forth a ghost chariot.
Yeah, the chariot takes away his immortality, and I mean I love that scene where you just see the chariot come down. Goes through him, rips him out, and he's, on the back of the chariot.
So you get like a little bit of a platoon thing for a second.
I'm waiting for the eagle cry, like,
And then I love that vortex that it goes into.
Oh, yeah.
At the top of the stairs.
I love how it goes up the stairs.
Yeah.
Like, they abide by natural law.
I like how Imhotep...
an entrance and an exit. I gotta go through it.
I like how Imhotep kind of runs up the stairs like, no, come back. Oh, God damn it. Shit. All right, well, let me go kill the rest of you sons of bitches. And then Rick stabs Imhotep and finally kills him. But during all of this, what's Benny doing?
Benny's just getting the treasure.
Getting fucking rich. And...
Or so he thinks.
Because he hits the kill switch.
Honestly, this part's pretty scary too.
We're destroyed. Where the whole complex, all of Hamunaptra is going to collapse in on itself. So now it's like...
Benny, shouldn't you know that everything here is booby-trapped?
Everything's
cursed, Benny. Come on.
That too.
And now, like, they have to run out as the whole thing's collapsing. Like, Raiders of the Lost Ark with the boulder. You have to outrun, the everything. And they meet up with Benny... And like our heroes and Benny, they meet up as they're running through the treasure room. And I love how Rick, even though Benny is the bad guy,
he tries to help him.
To save him. He's like, Benny, come on.
That's how much Brendan Fraser is the ideal action adventure hero. Dennis Cunningham, WCBS TV.
I mean, that moment is kind of like, that cements him as like, oh no.
He's a two-dimensional character.
Yeah, or three-dimensional.
Three-dimensional.
Two-dimensional.
2D.
There's no depth. But yeah, that cements him as like, oh no, he's like a badass, kind of like a wisecracking, jerk a little bit. But no, he's like a good guy.
Yeah.
And I love it's like, he's like, sorry, Benny.
And
then you see Benny, and he's got the torch.
You could tell, he's sad about it a little bit. He's like, sorry, Benny.
Yeah.
And Benny's in the treasure room looking around. He's like, shit. Is there any way I can get out? And then he hears...
He doesn't get crushed. He doesn't get crushed, though.
He doesn't get crushed.
He makes his way down the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And he hears the scarabs coming.
And then the light... Ooh, that light effect is great.
Where he's trying to... he's using the torch to try and keep him away. And then the torch starts fading. The scarabs are getting closer. It cuts to black. and you hear the scarabs going wild and him screaming, and I'm like, that is horrifying. So
Yeah.
that is the worst way to die in a movie. There we go. But we finally get to the end where Rick, Evie, Jonathan, they finally make it out. And they're like, and Hamunaptra falls, and that's the big like destruction effect, and it looks really good.
Hamunaptra doesn't just fall. I mean, it's like, okay, if anything was, reminiscent of this city, we're gonna continue to destroy it. Like, oh, that wall already fell. No, it's doing another backflip.
Yeah.
It is just going nuts.
It's overkill.
Oh yeah,
but for the better.
Yes.
exactly. How else will the second movie, be able to pick up where the first left?
Exactly.
I don't know.
And then we see that Ardith Bay survived because he's a badass.
Oh yeah.
And
no one saw him on the camel.
no one saw him on the... Yeah, they ran up and no one saw him just like chilling there on the camel.
With the rest of the camels.
And like, I bet you he just sat there the whole time. He's like, stupid American.
He's
American and Brits.
American and British people.
He's watching this. He's like, I was literally born to protect this city, and now it's
gone.
It's fucking gone.
I'm unemployed.
Shit. And then we finally get, the iconic ride off into the sunset. Rick and Evie kiss. Jonathan's like, well, what did I get out of this? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then you see the treasure.
Little glimmer.
Because they grabbed the camels that Benny was loading treasure on this whole time.
And you got Rick, I wouldn't say that. And that's when you get the kiss, because you got the girl.
Because romance.
Yeah, that part's kind of... Yeah, man.
You're just mad Rachel Weisz didn't end up with you.
I'm not going to confirm nor deny.
But that is the Mummy.
That is the Mummy. It is a mile a minute, chills and thrills. Jeffrey Lyons, WNBC TV.
I mean, like, yeah, this movie from beginning to end is like a perfectly paced adventure. Because you get like really solid like action set pieces, like every 10 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that. But in between that, you get like really solid like just character stuff, good comedy bits. There's a lot of good back and forth dialogue.
And it's all tangible.
Yeah.
You see that they're acting on sets. You see like the scope of all this stuff. And it just adds so much more to it as opposed, oh yeah, that Egypt is just a green screen.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that really works well for this movie's favor is there's a lot of CGI elements in it, but most of the sets are real. Like the actors are in real environments, and if there's a CGI character or a CGI monster, those are added in post, but it feels like they're acting against like real things in a real environment. It's not a green screened room.
Yeah.
And there's also this feeling that everyone in the movie is game. Like no one here feels like, oh, I'm in one of these action blockbusters. That's really below my pay grade. No, everyone here is having a good time. There's so much good chemistry on screen.
Because they made a real movie. They didn't feel like they were like, oh, we're just making a little action movie. I felt like they were making this big like
epic.
Like an epic, like an old Hollywood movie. But with Rachel Weisz and scary bits.
Scary bits?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just love this movie so much. I mean, for a movie that wasn't filmed in Egypt, you feel like you're there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it was filmed in like Morocco?
Yeah, there was something political going on at the times where they couldn't film actually in Egypt, so they had to do, a lot of stuff in Morocco, some in England, but it's just, the talent of the in front of the camera crew and behind the camera crew just to make you feel like you're actually there. This is happening.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I feel like I'm going to use the Boo phrase. It feels like lightning in a bottle. This feels like one of those perfect movies that came out of one of those perfect times for it to work because, this feels like Hollywood was trying to get another Indiana Jones franchise because in, the 90s, there was no Indiana Jones films.
No.
Right? So there was a decade without this benchmark action adventure franchise.
We had young Indiana Jones.
Yeah, with River Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Which weren't those like it was like a TV show or made for TV movies?
Yeah, I never watched them. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think that was like a thing Hollywood wanted. They wanted another like action adventure thing that could appeal to like teenagers, adults,
Mhm.
kids. They wanted that, and this is
And classic monsters.
It's for everyone. This movie's literally for everyone.
Yeah.
Again, I've never heard anyone say they dislike this movie. I can't imagine why you would. Like, there's nothing in it where it's like, oh, well, that doesn't age well, or oh, that doesn't. Like, even most.
It's so charming.
It's
is.
super charming. Most of the effects, even the ones where I was like, oh, that didn't age well, it's not like, oh, they aged so bad that they looked like garbage. It's like, oh, no, that looks like pretty decent for 99, but it's probably not going to pass the sniff test in 2024.
Yeah. But no, I don't think anyone's watching that movie to be like, oh, this movie's just lame. Like,
Right.
there's no way.
No.
But yeah.
Marvel couldn't make this movie.
Oh, absolutely not.
And like this movie, like you said, came out like at the right time. Like this is like the beginning of the bridge between practical and CGI.
Yes.
Because, Phantom Menace was the same year,
Mhm.
practical and CGI, and then Attack of the Clones
CGI.
completely CGI, and that's where like the major shift happens. This is like that good bridge in between.
That's something that's interesting is, was it Jurassic Park was like the first huge movie with CGI, and they were like,
Mhm.
we can do whatever we want, build the imagination. But that movie was like, what, like 70% practical, and then they
Yeah.
did CGI for things where it's like,
It's like
okay,
the
we can't build a
smallest
model.
things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, not like the smallest things, but
They were like, we're using CGI to basically like the 6 dinosaurs we can't do practically, those are going to be CGI.
Yeah.
But
and they
all
look
these
good though.
They look
They
solid.
still look great.
Yeah, and that's because like they knew how to use them properly. It's like, we'll keep them in the wides, all the close-ups, they're going to be real.
Mhm.
Like even in this movie, if they're doing a close-up of like the henchmen mummies, those are guys in suits.
Yeah.
They're only CGI when Rick has to like fight them and hit
Yeah.
them with a sword. And
Or when they're crawling on the walls.
oh yeah,
Which is such a great scene.
that
They could have done that practically though. I mean, come on.
that reminded me
You
of
get up there, you crawl down that wall.
that reminds me of like The Exorcist. That's something that's interesting. This movie is cribbing notes a lot from like Raiders of the Lost Ark, adventure, all that stuff. It's also cribbing notes from like Lawrence of Arabia
Yeah.
and a little bit of The Exorcist. At least the opening when they're in the dig site of
Yeah,
The
a
Exorcist, like
little bit.
it feels like there's a lot of great movies, great visuals, great aesthetics that they're cribbing a little bit of notes from. And it feels like this is one of those like perfect moment movies. Like this couldn't be made in 2004 or 5 because too much of it would have been CGI and then it would have actually aged probably poorly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This couldn't have come out in 1995 because the effects wouldn't have all been there and the cast would have been completely different. This feels like a perfect moment movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But when we get to the premiere of the movie, which was kind of an interesting thing, they start the movie up. The reel actually broke.
Oh,
in the
really?
movie. It broke, and some of the people in the cast were like, "Oh
It's
shit,
cursed.
this is a cursed film," and they were like, "No, it's not a cursed film. The film just broke, but this movie's all around curses." So they were like, "No, it's a cursed film. Oh my god!" And it's like, how could it not be cursed? But was it really? When the next day they were calling Universal and being like, "We need a mummy too."
Yeah.
That's the wild thing. This movie was in theaters for less than 24 hours, and then they're like, we want a
We need-
sequel right away. I know this movie took basically 10 years for us to finally end up with Stephen Sommers, and then another 3 or 4 to finally get the actual movie out.
The perfect cast, everything.
And then we get The Mummy Returns. Oh, he busted out the VHS. But we're going to be talking about that next week.
Which means we are going back to Hamunaptra.
Well, technically, we're going to like the Scorpion King's palace and
But we do go back to Hamunaptra because we have to go get Imhotep first.
True. But where can they go if they wanted to listen to that?
Well, if you want to listen to us on a different platform, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and YouTube.
Go to our YouTube channel, The Film Vault. As The Film Vault on YouTube. You can go there, like, comment, and subscribe, and check out the slideshow versions of our podcast when Dean decides to upload them. But if you want to follow us on social media, you can go to
The Film Club Podcast on Instagram, where we post our daily stories, upcoming episodes, and random adventures we go on. But next week, Alex is going to be joining us again.
That's right, Alex. Did you want to plug anything before we go back to Hamunaptra?
Not really. If you guys are looking for a good dentist, there's a good dentist in Tustin, Allegra Dental. run by Dr. Cash Money. I do some of his videos for his company, and I shall be doing one soon. So go get your teeth did, people.
And with that,
We'll see you next week at the film club.
I'll be seeing you again.
have a good week,
In
everybody.
Hamunaptra.